A rich person wakes up and gets richer. A normal person wakes up and gets older. That is the whole game. One of them owns the machine, the other one runs the machine. And that sounds harsh because it is harsh. But once you see it clearly, you cannot unsee it. The rich do not just have more money. They have money that keeps making more money while they sleep, while they eat, while they argue about where to go for dinner. Meanwhile, most people are playing a completely different game. They trade time for cash. Time disappears, cash appears. Then the cash disappears again on rent, food, insurance, bills, and the little surprises life likes to throw at you when your wallet is already tired. So when people ask, why do the rich keep getting richer? The answer is not one thing. It is a stack of things. A machine built from ownership, time, taxes, and leverage. And the annoying part is that the machine looks boring from the outside. No secret room, no magic trick, no Hollywood villain spinning in a chair. Just simple rules that become very powerful when someone already has a lot. Let's start with the oldest trick in the book. Money can do work. Most people hear that and nod politely, but they do not really feel it. They think money is for spending, or saving, or stressing over. But money, when it is owned, can become a tiny worker, then another, then another. And unlike human workers, these little money workers do not ask for weekends off. That is compounding. If you have a little money and it earns a little more money and then that new money earns money too, the growth starts slow. Painfully slow. So slow that people quit early and say it does not work. That is the trap. The first few years look boring. The rich know this. That is why they are calm when everyone else gets impatient, because they are not watching 1 year, they are watching 20. And 20 years is where the story gets rude. Imagine 2 kids, same class, same city, same report cards. One kid gets a piggy bank filled with coins and is told to spend it whenever. The other kid is handed a garden. The piggy bank feels better at first. It is immediate, easy, shiny. The garden looks stupid. You put seeds in dirt. Then nothing happens. Then still nothing happens. Then, after enough patience, something starts growing. That is wealth. The rich keep planting gardens. Poorer people are often forced to keep breaking open piggy banks. And that is not because they are lazy. It is because bills do not care about your philosophy. Now let's make it more real. Most people earn income from labor. They work, they get paid, they stop working. The money stops too. That creates a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, only so much energy in a week, only so many years before your body starts charging interest. But ownership does not have that problem. If you own a business, a building, a stock, a patent, a rental, or a piece of a company, your money can keep flowing without requiring your full body to be present. That is the first big gap. Labor is linear, ownership is scalable. A paycheck grows one shift at a time. An asset can grow while you sleep and then grow again on top of that growth. That sounds tiny until you put actual numbers on it. A person with $10,000 invested is playing a small version of the game. A person with $1 million invested is playing a very different version. Same percentage, very different outcome. If both earn 8% in a year, the first person makes $800. The second makes $80,000. Same rule. Completely different life. That is why wealth has gravity. The more you have, the easier it is to gain more. The less you have, the harder every step feels. And the system quietly rewards the first group for being already ahead. Now here comes the part people hate hearing. The rich do not just own more. They often get better terms, better rates, better access, better advice, better tax treatment, better deals. Because once you have money, the world stops treating you like a customer and starts treating you like a client. That is a huge difference. A customer gets the menu. A client gets the special menu. A very rich client gets the menu before the restaurant even opens. It is a bit absurd, but that is how it works. Banks like rich people because rich people are safer to lend to. Investors like rich people because rich people can deploy bigger checks. Lawyers, accountants, and advisors can all build custom strategies around wealth that normal people cannot access easily. So the wealthy are not just earning more, they are often paying less friction. Less friction means faster growth, and faster growth means the gap widens. Then there is tax. This is where the machine gets really quiet. Most workers get taxed the moment they earn income. It comes out before they even touch it. But owners often get taxed differently. They may be taxed later, or at lower rates, or on gains they have not even realized yet. That matters, because when you can keep more of what you make, you have more fuel for the next round. And when you have more fuel, you can buy more assets. And when you buy more assets, you generate more returns. And when those returns get taxed differently again, the machine keeps humming. It is not dramatic. It is just efficient. Which is another way of saying unfair if you do not own anything. Now let's talk about time again, because time is the sneaky boss here. A rich family can start a child with an account, a house, a business, or at least knowledge of how all of this works. A poor family often starts with survival. That difference changes everything. If you start earlier, compounding gets more years to work. If you start later, you spend the first part of life trying to catch up. And catching up is hard when the game keeps moving. Think about two people saving money. One starts at 25, the other starts at 35. That 10-year gap does not sound like much, but on the inside, it is huge. Because money invested early gets more time to multiply, the gains become part of the next gains, then those gains become part of the next gains. That is why wealthy families obsess over starting young. They are not just building money, they are building time into the money. Now we need to talk about risk, because the rich also survive things better. That sounds obvious, but it is one of the most important facts in the whole story. If a poor person gets hit with one emergency, it can wreck them. A car repair, a medical bill, a missed paycheck. One bad month can create a hole that takes years to climb out of. A rich person can absorb the same shock and keep moving. That means the wealthy can take bigger swings. They can invest in riskier assets. They can wait out downturns. They can buy when others are forced to sell. And that is the weirdest part. When markets crash, the poor often have to sell low just to survive. The rich can buy low because they were never in danger of running out of food money. So the same crisis hurts one group and helps the other. Not always, but often enough to matter. That is why bad times do not flatten the gap as much as people think. Sometimes they widen it. Now let's zoom in on a very human reason this happens. Rich people can afford patience. Patience is a luxury. If you are under pressure, you want results now. You want relief now. You want cash now. That is normal. But the best wealth builders are often the ones who can say, "I do not need this money today." That sentence is worth a fortune because it lets them wait for better investments, ride out bad years, and hold assets long enough for the slow magic to kick in. Poor people are often forced into short-term thinking, not because they are short-sighted, because life is short-sighted to them. That is different, and that difference gets mistaken for character all the time. People say the rich are disciplined. Sometimes yes. But a lot of what looks like discipline is just breathing room. If you do not have to panic, you make better choices. If you make better choices, you keep more money. If you keep more money, you get even more breathing room. Round and round it goes. Now let's talk about the biggest lie people tell themselves. That person must be smarter. Sometimes, sure. But usually the real advantage is structure. Someone inherited money. Someone inherited a house. Someone inherited a business. Someone inherited relationships, or confidence, or time, or all four. That is not the same as being a genius. It is being positioned well. And positioned well in a compounding system is almost as powerful as being brilliant, because you do not have to be the fastest runner if you start halfway up the hill. That is the part nobody puts in the motivational speech. The rich keep getting richer partly because they are already ahead when the race begins. And every year the race includes another advantage. Assets go up. Ownership creates income. Taxes bite differently. Access improves. Time compounds. Panic hurts the poor more. Patience helps the rich more. It is not one giant villain. It is 1,000 tiny gears. And they all turn in the same direction. Now, to be fair, this does not mean every rich person is sitting on a throne watching coins fall from the sky. Wealth still takes decisions, it still takes risk, it still takes discipline, and plenty of wealthy people lose money. But the structure of the system makes it easier for them to recover. That is the real story, not perfection, resilience. The rich can make mistakes and stay rich. The poor can make one mistake and become poorer. That is not a moral judgment. It is just how much cushion exists. And cushion is everything. Now step back all the way. What happens over decades if the people who already own the most keep getting the best returns, the best tax treatment, the best access, and the best protection? The gap grows, not explosively at first, quietly. Then suddenly it looks normal. That is the dangerous part. Because once inequality becomes familiar, people stop noticing the machine. They just notice the result. And the result is a world where money grows money faster than labor grows money. A world where the person who owns the shovel gets richer than the person digging. A world where the people closest to assets keep drifting upward while everyone else keeps trying to catch up with wages that move like tired feet. So the next time someone says the rich keep getting richer, do not think of it as a slogan. Think of it as a math problem with a head start. Think of ownership, time, tax, access, risk, patience. Think of a machine that rewards people who already have the machine. And then ask the uncomfortable question, if the rules keep working this way, what does the finish line look like for everyone else?